solid star. So come on, come on, come on, it's such a joy. Come on, it's such a joy. Come on and make it easy. Come on and make it easy. Make it easy. Make it easy. Everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey. That's what I'm talking about.
We're broadcasting live. You know what we need to do, because we didn't get to it in the last hour? Let's hit the station identification, and then we'll be back in 15 seconds.
Back in 15 seconds.
You know how bitchy rich can be.
How about some more beans, Mr. Taggart? I'd say you've had enough.
In related news, Rich Gerard, the school board member at large electee, attempted to quash the uproar that resulted from his announcement that he was leaving his ego to the Manchester Historical Society by striking out that bequest from his last will and testament. Viewers remember that, faced with the enormous expense of building a suitable enclosure to house Rich Gerard's ego, Historical Society President John Clayton appealed to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for a loan. Matters came to a head when Aldermen Jim Roy and William Shea, during the special meeting of the board called to deal with the Gatzis resignation crisis, led the move to kill the deal, claiming that the cost of the debt service on the loan would effectively bust the city charter mandated tax cap for the years 2017 to 2022, inclusive. During the special meeting of the board, Alderman Roy was particularly adamant in opposing the loan, saying that the proposed deal stinks. Shea promptly agreed, saying there was a funky aroma about the whole business. In a magnanimous gesture designed to save the city of Manchester money and preserve the tax cap, Rich Gerard announced today that instead of his ego, he was leaving his testicles to the Historical Society. John Clayton gladly accepted the bequest of Rich Gerard's testicles to the Queen City, saying that Gerard's gonads could fit snugly into a Wizard of Oz lunch pail, formerly owned by Peyton Place authoress and former Manchester resident Grace Metalius. The lunch pail...
Tonight we'd love to see John Wayne. That's right, John Wayne's the name, but you can call me Dope for short.
Going so soon? I wouldn't hear of it. Why, my little party's just beginning.
Hi, and welcome to Ward 13. I'm John Hopwood. I'm the answer to who was it that Ted Gatzis F-bombed about, as in that F-bombing goddamn John Hopwood.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Matt Connarton is joining us today.
I'm here as well, and to the best of my knowledge, the mayor has never F-bombed about me.
Matt, you have a vaguely 420-ish air about you right
Do
now.
I?
Have you been having insomnia or anything?
No.
Happy?
What are you implying?
You're heavy-lidded today.
I do a lot of coke before I come on the show.
Here's to the good products from the Coca-Cola Company.
Yes. That's what the song Elegantly Wasted by NXS is about.
Matt, if it wasn't if it was after 1991, I know nothing about popular music. I bought 2 albums, something by Madonna,
Yeah?
and when she was still good, and something. What was the one with Zoo Station? U2.
Oh, Zeropa, you mean?
Right.
Yes. Wow.
And that's it for me.
No kidding.
I was 32 years old, or
My-
31. I'm late baby.
See, my father, you know what's so cool about my dad? He's pushing 70. He still loves new music. He lives on the seacoast. He listens to WUNH, the college station, because he loves hearing new stuff. He's always been like that. My uncle is like that, too.
Well, my old man used to listen to rap when he was at the
Did he?
gangster rap when
Yeah.
he was at the gym. He said it reminded him of the 30s when everybody was into the gangsters. you
No
know?
kidding.
Well, Jimmy Cagney was the big movie star, and during the height of the Depression, Al Capone got more letters than mail than Clark Gable or any movie star.
Yeah.
And when the FBI shot John Dillinger, people were upset because they really identified with the crooks.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty Boy Floyd, all of them. If you ever read, I just reread to get once again reorient myself to America. Steinbeck, Grapes of Wrath, and they keep talking about Pretty Boy Floyd and the Depression, but. Hey, I was at the polls today. I don't know who to look. Do I look at the camera or do I look at you?
Doesn't matter.
You have more discipline, about camera discipline than I do. I was at the polls. And I have to go around since I'm a candidate for
Yes.
county office.
I voted for you today.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And
You were the
Hillsborough County.
You were the
can
only
vote for
option
me.
on the ballot.
Yeah, now I can go around and my nieces and nephews can vote for me.
Oh,
They
good.
don't. Holy smoke, we're having a little problem here.
With that chair, too?
Well, I only had 2 hours of sleep.
Oh.
I was making signs for Joel Elber.
How is he doing in
Hey,
his
speaking of which,
event,
here they
efforts?
finally came in, the Joel Elber and Bob Backus signs.
Wow.
You know, we can give them a call. Or should we call Bill Berry first? From Ward 10.
I don't
Hey,
know.
here's the thing.
Bill Berry has a fun song about him.
Okay, he does? Is there another Bill Berry we know about?
No.
Here's the thing. The word is that Sununu's beating Gatsis in Manchester.
Well, I've said all along, I didn't think, and you know I tend to be right with my predictions, but not all of them. But I tend to think that Gatsis is no match for the Sununu machine.
See, you expand on that while I look up Bill's number.
Well, the Sununus are obviously very powerful in the state, you know, and also, too, as I've been saying for a long time now, I just don't know. Like, I'm still waiting for someone to say to me, Matt, look at what Gatsis did here or here. Point to something that Gatsis has done as mayor.
He wrecked it 7.5 years. He turned this into the poster boy for a city, with a major drug problem.
Right.
The poster child for a drug-addled city.
yeah, the
That's got to
heroin.
be worth something, Matt. We almost got the income from, the Cop series was going to come here for 33 weeks.
How disastrous.
And then all the aldermen said, Jesus, you know what that's going to do?
I mean, what's Gatsis' campaign slogan? At least
would
it's
be-
not meth.
It would be the first economic growth he'd ever brought into this city.
There you go. Well, that's an opportunity missed.
Hey, let's give Bill Berry a call. Our good friend Bill Berry. Who
I've never actually met him. Oh, but I did vote for him because you say such good things about him, as do Peter and the Moose. So I trusted your judgment.
someday after 3 years, I should learn how to use this thing. Then we're going to talk to Connie Van Houten about my favorite Manchester personality, Richard H. Gerard.
Oh, I've heard
Stinky
of him.
Gerard.
Yes, he has quite the reputation.
Now Bill's not going to answer.
No.
This is live TV at its most thrilling.
At the tone, please record your message. When you
Well, why don't you talk a little about your take on state politics? Well, I sent a scintillating text to Mr. Berry.
I'm beginning, yes. I hope it is scintillating.
People come up to him at the polls and they talk to him because he's a great alderman.
I'm sure he is, although I'm beginning to regret my vote for him today, given that he did not answer the phone.
Where are you, you SOB? Hey,
Yes.
getting back to Mayor Gatsis.
Yes.
You were saying
But his
this thing
campaign
about the Sununu
his
machine.
slogan should be, at least it's not meth.
At least it's not bad. You know, maybe people don't want to vote for him because he's what my mother would have called an F-bombing ass. Although, we didn't know she had Alzheimer's quite then. So
Yeah.
we got her to just use the word F-A. Because like when she started, it's mild cognitive impairment we know now, and I'm waiting for mine to hit.
Oh.
And So we got to say FA. So Ted Gatzis, being an FA, likely has cost them the votes. I didn't think he could get more than 4,500 votes out of the Manchester, but he's not even going to get that.
Did you see in the gubernatorial debate where Jeannie Forrester really kind of got the better of him? Jeannie Forrester talking about the National Guard.
Yeah, but she was full of crap. There's only 2 people.
Right.
But the Concord Monitor liked it because he seemed oblivious that the 2
Right.
people were doing the research.
I thought she definitely got the better of him in that exchange.
It depends. And the union leader wanted her to do it too.
Yeah.
The union leader's so heavy-handed.
Yeah.
When did the Gatzis Gazette turn against the FA?
You know, sometimes they turn on their own.
You didn't get to see the thrilling new beginning. They call it the Gatzisland Family Television Fanfare.
Yes, I saw some of it. Ooh.
Hey, Brendan, does that look good, our background? I'm sure we've got even more obnoxious ones. Hey, Brendan! We're supposed to have the other banner, but we'll do that next week.
Is this money legal tender outside of Manchester?
It's bond. What does it say? Gatzisland perpetually bonded note. If you believe in it, if you click your heels together, Dorothy, it will be so.
I don't have the right shoes.
I'm going to send a text to Connie Van Houten first.
Will this one be scintillating?
While we're doing that, let's watch this scintillating video sponsored by Gatzis Family Television called When I Grow Up.
I get a terrible awful ache, especially when it rains. At first I was afraid, decaf, but now I know it's growing pains. Gosh, oh dear, oh can't you see I'll soon be grown up tall? So I've got to think what I will be when I'm no longer small. When I grow up, in a year or 2 or 3, I'll be happy as can be, like a birdie in the tree. When I grow up, I want to be a teacher so the children can say, oh teacher dear, the gang's all here with apples today. When I grow up, I will have a big surprise, for I'll make the kind of pies that will make you roll your eyes. And if you see that you need some company, you can call me up and I'll come down when I go up.
Well, what do you know? We couldn't get Connie on the phone either.
Everyone's ignoring you, John Hopwood.
Either that or there could be some real news coming from the polls.
Perhaps they've been kidnapped by Gatzis Family Television.
Now, we all know this enmity, alleged enmity between me and Teddy is just for the yucks and the ratings.
All in good fun.
One of the people told me, I won't mention the name, but a media personality, well, not Rich Girard, unfortunately, said every time you go on TV or go down to City Hall and get your mug on TV, he didn't actually use that word, but we do want to keep this clean and then, within the boundaries of good taste. After all, we are sponsored by Gatzis Family Television.
Yes.
Family Television. Part of the voice of Christian America.
Oh, yes, of
Christ,
course.
I forgot my train of thought. Matt, what's up with you?
I'm curious about this. So Bob Backus and Joel Elber running together? They've teamed up? Are they running mates?
Yes, they are running mates, Democrats for District 19.
Okay.
And now we're going to give Joel a call, and he'll probably tell me something like, go take a leap at a flying donut.
By the way, Bob's...
It's a flying leap at a rolling donut.
Right. By the way, Bob's program, Progress Report, we've added to IPM Nation, and you can find it every week on our YouTube channel.
Oh, that's good.
So you're the one who initiated that.
You should get the Jim O'Connell show on, too.
Yeah. Education matters.
Let's see if we can get Joel.
Oh, yeah, Joel always answers. He always answers the call. He won't answer. This will be the one time he doesn't answer.
Maybe we should ask Chris Herbert if we can borrow his video.
Wow. No one is available.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic
Unreal.
voice message system.
Hey, I think I ought to edit this before I give it over to...
It's making you look bad. in terms of your candidacy. People are going to say, yeah, people don't answer the phone for him. How can I vote for him?
No, I don't really believe that.
No. Well, who is your opponent in the general election?
Mr. Fredette.
I don't know anything about him.
Well, let's talk about... I'd rather talk about Ted Gatzis.
That is more fun. He's quite
While
the
I
colorful
send these
character.
texts. Hey, can you put the camera on Matt? And Matt, you know how to hold the TV time.
Yes.
Well, I send a yet more scintillating, scorching text.
Well, speaking of scintillating and speaking of Joel Elber, I do just want to say, I don't think I've laughed so hard in a long time. When I was listening to yesterday's replay of the morning show with Peter White and the Moose, and I heard Joel say, they were talking about 9/11, and Joel said something about people celebrating around the world the anniversary of 9/11, and Pete had to correct him, of course. Well, they're not celebrating. It's not something you celebrate. It's a memorial. But the way Joel said it, I just don't think I've laughed that hard in a long time.
Hey, you got a couple more minutes to fill up.
Okay, what are you doing?
Some people might be celebrating.
Yes. Now, how do you think? So did Joel, of course, of the team of Joel and Bob, did Joel, was he unopposed in his primary? Is that correct?
As Democrats, they are.
Yes.
Now, Connie Van Houten, as a Democrat, is running. Her and Jane Beaulieu, who's the incumbent, or as she likes to say, Jane Beaulieu.
Beaulieu?
And if you watch your video, though, at the
So
end
French.
of it, she actually says Beaulieu again.
Oh, really?
Well, her father was Emile Beaulieu, and he was twice the mayor of Manchester.
I didn't know that.
She's the incumbent, and Connie's school board member in 12. She's running in 45, the Flotario.
Okay.
And there's 2 Free Staters running.
Yes.
So Connie should do well, because she's a school board member, and
Okay.
she's won 2 terms.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I don't think I've met her.
Isn't it exciting TV with somebody texting?
Well, so and Bob Backus, of course, who
one of the pillars of Manchester.
Yeah.
He ran against Gatzis. Gatzis beat him for the state senate.
Oh,
and Gatzis is indistinguished or indistinguishable. Well, he's always an FA no matter what office he's in, and he has undistinguished time as in the New Hampshire State Senate, where he was president of the Senate for like 2 or 3 months. Oh, Jesu, I got some news, but let me send this scintillating message.
We'll wait for the news.
Is somebody calling in, hopefully?
Yep, phone's ringing.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, and welcome to Ward 13. This is your humiliated host, John Hopwood. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to?
It's the Phantom.
And I love you, too. I love you truly. Ted, come on. You can play along with me.
You think that was Ted calling?
I don't know who it was.
Oh. Ted the Phantom. Ted looks like he's gaining back the weight that he lost.
And ask me, Ted Gatzis. There are rumors about Ted Gatzis, what he's going to do if he wins the primary.
What do you think he'll do?
Hey, let's have the camera on Matt. I'm going to send one more message.
Is this a scintillating text that you're sending?
So you were talking about Ms. Forrester. You can tell our viewers... No, not on me, on Matt. Are they about what she was saying about the National Guard and the Gatzis land push against drugs.
Right.
Take it away, Matt.
Well, yeah, Jeannie Forrester in the debate was talking about about the National Guard operating within Manchester to fight the heroin problem. And Gatzis said that's absolutely not true. And Forrester went at him and said, well, you don't know what's going on in your own city. And he's talking about, well, I talk to, Chief Willard every day and this and that. And of course I know what's going on and I have no knowledge of this. And which was the wrong answer, because I think she got the better of that exchange. And she said, well, you should talk to somebody. You should know what's going on in your own city.
And was there National Guard in Manchester dealing with the drug problem?
Well, my understanding is there are 2 or 3 members of the National Guard, too.
Doing work, research.
But does Ted not know that?
No, he didn't. It's obvious he didn't know it.
Yeah.
But he spun it as she was off. That's not the National Guard. That's not the National Guard. That is the way he spun it.
Yeah.
And, oh, here we have Connie.
Oh.
Connie, I need to call you on the telephone. Can I call you right now? Yes, and we're having here, why don't you call the number? It's 603. Hey, I'll send you it in a scintillating text message. All right? I will send it to you right now while we put the camera on Matt, and he explains F.A. Gatzis' war on drugs. I'll call you in about 2. I'm going to send it to you. Okay, bye. Okay, camera on Matt, and he's going to tell us about F.A. Gatzis' scintillating war on drugs.
I am curious, though, if text containing only numbers could be scintillating. I suppose it could. But
you don't know what numbers I'm sending.
That's true. I don't know. So, yes, Ted Gatzis' war on drugs. Wow, it's going great, isn't it?
Just like all 7.5 years of Fatty's regime.
Does he take credit for Safe Station? Because my understanding is...
Yeah, it does, but it was one of the lieutenants that came up with
it. Yeah,
it
wasn't his idea, but... Because, again, it goes back to this central question. What can Mayor Gatzis point to say, look at this, this is why you should make me governor?
Well, he's wrecked the economy and made us the drug. Now that's that's the thing. You know, Italy in the 80s was not in like the G7. But then when they included all the black market economy, they became part of the G7. And actually, they became part of the G5. They had a bigger economy than Canada, except it was all underground. So you know, I like to criticize F.A. Gatzis for not bringing any economic growth to the city. But look at the economic growth. Dope. More money going to fight the crime. The properties that are going to hell in the inner city, I understand him and his brother are flipping properties in the inner city, so he's probably getting a good price, and then he's got enough assets to hold on to it. I was never given, that's only a rumor.
Only a rumor. Only
a rumor.
Now,
we got an incoming call.
Oh, good.
Then we can... Hi, welcome to Award 13. This is your humiliated host, John Hopwood. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Hi, John. It's Connie Van Houten up in Ward 12. How are you?
Connie, it only took us 20 minutes to get through to you while I'm struggling through this airtime. Hey,
I'm sorry.
Why don't you go
ahead.
Tell us, Connie, you are about... Jim O'Connell was talking on his show, Education Matters, about the school board meeting coming up tomorrow. Why is this school board meeting so important?
Well, we actually haven't met in a little over a month, so a lot of major issues are still on the table. One of the major issues is City Year. City Year has been given, well, actually, we have a grant, a Title I grant for $200,000.
Connie.
It's earmarked for City Year. Can you hear me?
What is City Year? Tell the audience. What's
City Year? It's an AmeriCorps group. It's a group of young people. They're typically aged 18 to 22. Some are college. Many of them are college graduates, and they come in and they work with our kids in Title I schools, which are schools at a certain poverty level. Although they work with all the kids in the school, and they motivate, they tutor, they do after-school programs for us.
So we have schools that meet these poverty guidelines here in Manchester. This is a poor city, I guess, in some ways.
I don't know if I call it a poor city, but we do have challenges with free and reduced lunch numbers, and that gives us the guidelines for Title I. We are a rich city, and the teachers and the staff that we have, and City Year is part of that richness. So if you're counting dollar signs, yes, we have needs. If you're counting people power, City Year is part of that terrific group that gives us people power.
Now, City Year has done this every year, and there hasn't been any opposition, I understand. What is going on the school board? Why is there opposition to City Year? And who is leading it?
This time we have that $200,000 grant.
A $200,000
one-time money, and some people concern themselves with one-time money because they don't want to pledge one-time money for something that we will not be able to staff or to pay for next year or the year after. So that's part of the issue that's there. Additionally, there is an allocation that already comes from the school board for city year. And some people are feeling that we shouldn't give them the entire $200,000. We've already given them an appropriation. Right. I am of the opinion that we had already made that appropriation to them. We had already told them that money would be theirs, the $125,000, and that the $200,000 is basically a bonus. It costs us nothing because it's money that was returned to the state by other districts.
Right.
We're not able, for whatever reason, to use the money. And so through the diligence of our district, we have been able to apply for that money and to get that grant. It's part of a $342,500 grant that we were able to get because our people sat down and diligently put in the application for it.
Now, is the opposition to this city year grant ideological in its basis among some of the people? That they don't want poverty programs, so what they would call social engineering programs, criticism that goes back to the Great Society of LBJ.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it is that type of thing, but there are people who are opposed on a broader global level who believe that perhaps our taking of federal and state monies obligates us to certain things. It ties our hands. And they would like us to look at how we can fully fund internally without taking that money.
How can we...
We have had... Excuse me.
How could we do that
Dr.
without
Living,
raising taxes?
Well,
These are the same people that are against taxes.
Has brought us figures to the board that show that the money that we get is not really replaceable within our budget.
Right.
And so some of these things that people say we have mandates for, well, yeah, there are some times when there are certain mandates that we have to follow to get the money. But the government simply wants to ensure that we're using it in the way that it's supposed to be used.
Now, City Year has broad support. I saw Dick Anagnost testifying and a broad range of people.
It does. It is incredible support. I'm standing outside Northwest Elementary right now where the City Year students are just, they are so welcomed. Shelley Larichelle, the principal here, has lobbied to get them and just got them last year for the first time. These kids stand outside the doors and they clap and cheer for every kid going to school in the morning. Imagine being a kid without a lot of support at home. When you come here and these young people they wear red jackets, they're clapping and cheering.
That's interesting.
I kind of walk a little prouder when I come in the morning when I see them out here too. It's just another piece of a great puzzle that goes together to support our kids.
Okay, you said there's 3 issues. That's one of them. What's the second issue that's so important tomorrow at the board meeting?
The other 2 issues are not going to be coming to votes. I believe some people have concerns about some motions that have already passed. They've already closed. One was an equity policy that was brought before the board.
What do you mean equity?
And during the presentation of that equity policy, some young people who were there felt a little disturbed by what they were hearing.
What is an equity policy?
I don't want to take their thunder. If they come and they wish to testify tomorrow night, they can certainly speak to that, whatever it is that they wish to speak to. But they did walk out of the meeting and they were concerned about some issues that came up about equity among teachers, among staffing of our teachers in the schools. The final issue.
Connie, equity is an amorphous word that means nothing to people. I mean, in England they have courts of equity and courts of, everybody, that just means civil law. What do you mean by equity? Do you mean equal rights? Do you mean hiring teachers of color to better reach out to students of color? Is that what we mean by equity?
That's essentially what equity means. Equality and equity are 2 words that are sometimes used mutually in the same way. And they're not truly the same thing. I don't care what you call it from my point of view. I think that every youngster, every child deserves to be treated in a whole child capacity, which may include dealing with the culture that he has or a different language that he has. Equally, I believe that teachers, it doesn't matter who they are or whether they're people of color or whatever, they can be very good quality teachers. And
well,
so
Let's I hate to use this hoary old cliche, but let's call a spade a spade. Rich Girard is behind a lot of the people that are going to be coming out tonight because he intimated that teachers of color are not equal to other teachers.
Really?
When he said that we can't use that as a standard for hiring teachers.
Did he try to say they're 3/5 of a teacher?
Did he not say that?
I really,
This is why we're on TV.
I prefer not to go into individuals, but there are tapes and there are recordings of our meetings, and so I believe that everybody should judge on his own or her own exactly what is said and what is done. For me to interpret somebody else's words is probably not an appropriate thing to do at this time.
Connie, that's why I'm here. I get to interpret them.
I'm sorry, pardon me?
That's why I'm here. I get to interpret them. I know about Rich Girard, and he is hostile
Each of us gets to
towards
look at it
diversity.
if they wish, but I don't want to interpret for somebody else.
Oh, I'm doing that.
Everybody else, everybody needs to make his or her judgment as to what was said, and I think that that's appropriate. I think we have to work as a board on becoming a more mutually collaborative board and work toward making things better in our schools. And if I don't want to stir up rancor when everyone else can make his or her choice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the whole point is that people are going to be turning out tomorrow because Girard's injudicious words and his attacks on you and other people. Is it not?
Does he attack other members
He's
openly?
been attacking Connie in a vicious manner.
Really?
But
I have been subjected to some very negative media attacks.
yeah,
And
he's
but I am first and foremost a representative of the kids and the citizens in the city, and so
oh, of course
that's
you
where I'll
are.
go with this. I know that people have their concerns, and I'd love to let them say what they have to say.
I plan to go there and call Rich Girard, tell the board that what I know about Rich Girard, that he's a liar. He is a liar. There's something wrong with him. But we'll go on to number 3, which I think, was this about Rich Girard too, banning books, or is that part of number 2?
That's part of number 3. There was that same grant, that $342,500 grant, included a reading program called Closer Reading. And there were several books that were part of this program. There are a broad list of books, and there were some people who are concerned about the titles of the books and concerned that there might be a political agenda or social engineering involved there. And that is not the way that I saw it. I saw that our policy, and I read the policy in the meeting, our policy is that our instructional materials are selected by our instructional staff. And I wanted us as a board to recognize that.
Let me fill.
I teach English. I have no expertise in choosing a read-along book for a 3rd grade, for instance.
Well, let's.
I trust the teachers at Northwest who piloted. I trust them.
Well,
make those decisions for me.
Let's me just fill in the audience once again. We'll go back to Rich Girard. The 3 books he objected to volubly, vocally, were a book about Harriet Tubman, a book about Jackie Robinson, and a book about Nelson Mandela.
Really?
There seems to be a common theme there.
Actually, that's not quite true. He didn't specifically object to specific books, but during the discussion, the very first discussion of books, the Harriet Tubman book was not on the table. There was Amelia Earhart, Jackie Robinson, and Nelson Mandela. Those were the ones on the table, and some members of the committee wanted to look at the other titles, before we okayed the grant. Now, I want to specify that the grant was eventually granted, and so we're not going to be voting on that tomorrow night. That's been said and done, and the teachers are getting their books. The same is true of the equity policy. We passed a policy that states to our young people that we believe that there needs to be equity across the board, that we value every individual for who he or she is, and we will continue to act that way as a board and as a city.
You know, Connie, I've lived outside of Manchester for 38 years. I lived in Boston, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. And evidence-based research proves that students from different cultures, learn and have different aptitudes that are culturally based. It can come from, very simple things about the perception of a line within a rectangle based on whether you come from like a Western individualistic culture or a collective culture. These are things that are known because their evidence and it's cognitive science proves this.
Yeah.
When my ex-wife is getting her teaching certificate, they are courses on how to teach Mexican students because they come from a culture where education not quite as valued as other
Right.
cultures. In fact, it's like French Canadians. I'm part French Canadian. The old generation. Why would you want to go through high school even, or let alone get a degree or a
Right.
master's degree or anything?
Well, that's why I think diversity is a strength, because of the variance in the perspectives, whereas people who don't like diversity see it as a weakness.
Right, but the thing is, they're actually, and it's proven, science,
Yeah.
a word that a lot of Republicans don't like, that, cognition, your perception of the world and your ability to learn is affected by your culture. And it seems like there are certain people, one person whose nickname is Stinky, they just cannot accept that.
Well, in fairness, though, does it talk about that in the Bible?
La Biblia?
Yeah, the
Was it,
cognitive, all that. Is that in there?
They didn't even have an internal combustion engine right then, Matt.
Oh, see, then I don't believe in that either, then.
You still there, Connie?
I am, but I'm having difficulty hearing you. I'm sorry. You're fading out.
I was just blaspheming.
It's a Ward 12 thing. Our phone reception doesn't.
We can hear you. We can hear you very well. You probably don't want to hear what my baiting of our dear friend Rich Gerard. So, is that the third issue then? We've already covered the 3 issues.
Yes. Now there is a much broader agenda. Of course, we have financial issues and things. There are usual things that will be coming up. We also have a personnel report that we go through. It's a pretty packed agenda, but it's pretty typical of what we deal with at this time of year.
Well, Connie, we'll let you go. The polls are going to be closing. But I want to get you back. I know you can't come on Tuesdays because of the school board and committees, but I'd like to get you back on via telephone.
All right, cool.
And I'm going to gradually break you in towards criticizing Rich Gerard in public. Hey, good.
That's really. I don't really want to go in that direction. I'd like our board to build a greater strength among all of us. I'll talk issues anytime, though. Okay.
Well, I admire your courage. You really are a standout on the board, and I think you'll be a standout up in Concord.
Thank you. I'm doing my best.
Hey, is Joel?
Have a good night. Nice talking to you.
Hey, tell Joel to give us a call. That should be fun.
I believe that Joel is no longer here.
Joel.
Take a look around the corner.
Did you give him my staple gun?
Yes, he has your stapler, but he is no longer here.
Uh-oh, Rich Gerard's going to say, now I've had a conflict of interest. I admit I was holding a Connie Van Houten sign in 12 and 10.
Aha!
There, the cat's out of the bag.
I can't understand you. I'm sorry.
Not many people can, Connie. Take care, and thank you very much.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
She sounds like she wants to criticize Rich
She's
Gerard.
a very nice person.
No, she sounds it, yeah. She sounds very positive and likes to kind of be
Bill
above
Barry
the fray.
is... let's see if we can get him.
Did he send you a scintillating reply to your text?
He used no profanity, unlike my scintillating messages.
Yes, well, one does not need to curse to be scintillating.
Well, who did you vote for governor?
I voted for Ian Freeman.
You can't be serious.
We carry his show, Free Talk Live, on IPM Nation.
Well, you did vote for the guy with the boot on his head that I gave the...
Vermin Supreme, proudly, yes.
That I gave the Donald Trump tie to.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Basically, if you've been on my show, I'll vote for you.
Bill Barry, how are you?
Yes, sir.
Will you...
Answer the phone over there.
Because we were spending 20 minutes trying to get Connie Van Houten to insult Rich Gerard, but she wouldn't do it. I will. What are your impressions of Rich Gerard?
Now, is this on the air?
No. We don't go on till 7, Bill. So you can F-bomb, use any words you want.
He sounds a little too smart for that.
Who's on there now?
Matt Connarton. Well, we're not on the show. We're in the green. Matt's show's at 7.
Yeah,
Hi, Bill.
Aren't you on there too?
Do you want to come on Matt's show at 7?
No. I can't. I'm going to be here. But weren't you just on the show?
You're live on Ward 13, Bill Barry. How's it going, Bill?
Good. You?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
we had a rocky 20 minutes.
Here over in Ward 10, a young man named Jeff Hamer.
Hamer.
Over here with me and holding signs. He's holding couple of signs for Mark Connolly and D'Alessandro and Bill Berry and Connie Van Houten.
Sounds like it's hammer time.
Things are going well. It's been a beautiful day. A lot of people showing up now.
Very nice day for voting.
Probably be over 1,200, probably be between 1,200 and 1,300.
The word coming in is that Sununu is beating Gatsis in Manchester, although that's just rumors.
Yeah. Well, remember Sununu said that during the primary up at the Radisson. He said he predicted he was going to beat Gatsis in his own city.
He said he was going to crush. He said he was going to. That was just to me and Bill.
Oh, really?
During the primary, he said, "I'm going to crush him in his own city."
I believe it. I believe he will.
Hey, Bill, what's the thing about the National Guard in Manchester? Matt Connarton is interested in that.
What it is I guess the National Guard has a couple of people that are working, and it's all doing
research,
statistics and stuff like that within the police department on what's going on. It's just extra hands on deck. They're not patrolling the city, and I know the perception was when Jeannie Forrester mentioned that the National Guard was in Manchester, was the first thing that comes to people's minds is that they're here patrolling the cities and
enforcing our border or something,
like New Orleans or something like that. They're taking over the city or they're helping out with the city and martial law and all that. But it's not. That's not anything to it. It was basically they're here just to assist Manchester inside the department. It was all statistical stuff.
But Bill, before I let Matt talk, the Concord Monitor did point out Gatsis didn't even seem to know that those National Guard people existed.
Yeah, if he knew, he could have just corrected the record.
Right.
But he didn't. He just seemed oblivious.
And I think he was surprised by that. I think he was surprised that she would have brought that out. And then again, I think his probably thought process was that, I should.
We're talking about Gatsis' thought process.
But I think his thought process was that they were actually like patrolling the streets and so on and so forth. But so she was right. I mean, you can't you can't call her a liar. She was right. I mean, they're not playing a big role. They're not enforcing laws in the city or the state of New Hampshire.
In a way, the militia
has to hire them to if it ever came down where they needed the National Guard to come in, maybe if it was unrest in the city or whatever, then the governor would have to she's the one or he's the one that would have to order them to into a city.
Hey, Bill, there was another thing where Chris Sununu was criticizing Gatsis for the crime in Manchester. Now, Gatsis and the police commission, all of whom are appointed by Gatsis, said, oh no, crime went down. But when you look at statistics, violent crime in Manchester has actually gone up. Is that true?
Right.
So that's
that's what my understanding is that the violent crime has gone up, which is it happens. I mean, that's the way it goes. You could go from year to year, and all of a sudden you get just, for example, like 8 homicides this year, 3 last year. So it pushes it up, and it looks like, oh my God, look, it's gone up 150% or whatever, 167%, whatever they said, which is true. So you can't predict how many homicides you're going to have in the city. As well as you're hoping.
But we're not talking just homicide.
Violent crimes go down, but it just happens. I mean, you just don't know what's going on through people's minds. You try to enforce the laws that you have and do the best that you can.
Yeah.
You keep in mind that a lot of things that were going on in the city of Manchester, what people were really concerned about was home burglaries and thefts from vehicles and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Those may have gone down, which is a good thing. Because that's what the people that are hooked on the heroin and opiates and other drugs, they're the ones that are rummaging through cars and going into people's homes and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
with that in mind, the Manchester police have done an awesome job.
Well, we're not criticizing the police.
You can't blame the police.
Well, we're not blaming the police. Blaming Gatsis is not blaming the police. And frankly, this place is more like Los Angeles every day, because violent crime, murders, and that type of crime, that's what people, that really leads to a city degenerating quickly.
Well, we only have one Taco Bell, though, right? Or maybe 2?
What do you mean by that?
Well, in L.A., aren't they everywhere?
Well, they got Del Taco,
Yeah.
other tacos.
Oh,
You're being a Weisenheimer.
I'm getting hungry.
No, but I'm just saying, I increasingly think I'm like in Los Angeles, helicopters, but the shootings, that's not the Manchester I came back to. So I think that Gatz
is changed. I've lived here all my life, and Manchester's changed. I mean, I was talking to a few people here how, you know, when I was growing up, we used to ride our bikes back, and this is in the 70s. We used to ride our bikes from, you know, I grew up on Merrimack Street between Maple and Lincoln, and we used to ride our bicycles up to the back end of Massabesic Lake to go fishing.
Right.
You know, you can't do that nowadays. Kids, I wouldn't tell any kid or allow any. I wouldn't allow my kid, if I had, you know, I have one daughter. I wouldn't allow her, or even if I had sons, to take bicycle rides to different lakes and you know, far away from home. It's unfortunately there's too many predators out there.
Bill, I'd like to talk about one thing. Once again, let's get back to violent crime. And you talked about homicides, but homicides is one type of violent crime. It's not as rare as other types of violent crime. Now, when you're a law enforcement officer, violent crime makes a policeman, a law enforcement officer's job, as dangerous as anything other than being in combat. Now, you know, investigating a home burglary is not the same thing as somebody taking a pistol out and firing it. Anybody that would use a weapon in any type of crime. Well,
but not only that, you know, how about all the armed robberies that we're seeing?
Yeah.
And we're seeing an influx of them right now. I mean, you've got people, you know, just in the last couple of days, you had the delivery person get robbed, and
it was on Kelly Street,
robbed with a knife point, and that's what's going on. I mean, these people, unfortunately, these people that are addicted to the drugs, because I'll guarantee you that probably 99.9% of these robberies, these armed robberies and stuff, have to do with the drug situation in Manchester. And it's dangerous. It's not only dangerous to be a police officer. It's dangerous to be a citizen of the city of Manchester, because you don't know what you don't know what's going to happen with how they're going to respond. You know, these people, if for example, a guy at Hans Market. I mean, here's a guy that's 80 years old, and it seems like he put up a fight and got pistol whipped.
Yeah.
You know?
But
that's what these people are. It's the old saying is, you know what? If they come in for money, give them the money. Give them the money and let them do their job and hunt them down and get. You know, money is just a temporary loss. You know, your life is more important than giving someone $100.
Yeah, but see, here in Manchester, people aren't used to that. When I was at Boston University, 78 to 82, we'd have a job in a convenience store.
Right.
You just open the cash register and stretch out. But that's Boston or New York, where there was a lot of violent crime.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's come here. This is part of Gatz's, his legacy. But the thing is, the Board of Aldermen is going to be considering a new contract for the police, which brings their wages up to put them on a par with Nashua and other comparable cities. And in the wake of this vast uptick in violent crime, I think that has to be a factor when you consider this. But with Gatz's pretending this crime is done.
To support, you know, like I'll tell you, I support the Manchester police. You know, getting more than getting what they deserve. I can put it that way. You know, it's unfortunate, but they're, you know, from what I understand, they're like the 12th. They're 12th from the top as far as the highest paid law enforcement. Now, who in their right mind that's going to be a police officer really honestly wants to come to Manchester and put their lives in? No matter where you are, you're going to put your life on the line as a police officer, because even the small towns, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know. People are unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do, and if they're cornered, it's almost like a wounded bear. You know, they're going to react. Everyone's going to react differently. But with all the shootings, all the robberies, everything that's going on in the city of Manchester, when I looked at the numbers compared to Nashua, I was like astounded. I'm saying, are you kidding me?
Significant difference.
You know, I'll give you some quick figures. The first year, patrolmen for Nashua was making about $2,600 more than Manchester. Second year, they were making $10,000 more.
Wow.
The third year, they're making $15,000 more. and it's hard to catch up to that.
That's a
no
big
matter
swing.
what pay scale we have in the city of Manchester, if they catch up in year 13, it's hard to keep these people. It's hard to keep.
Right.
But how are you going to keep a patrolman that's working for the city of Manchester when they look in Londonderry or Nashua or Hanover or all these smaller communities that are making more money than them after 5 years? They're gonna get pick up and leave.
They do, and they do.
Is there a lot of turnover? Is it a high churn rate for the Manchester police?
There is. Yeah, there is, and that's the and you try to come up with some ways to retain these people to make sure and give them the incentive to stay here, and you're hoping that they're going to spend their career here. There was a lot of guys that I worked with when I was with the sheriff's office that from the city of Manchester that were awesome. I mean, the guys that I knew, spent their whole career here.
Yeah.
It's not happening anymore, and it's unfortunate because and we need to, as a city, we need to show them the respect that they deserve. I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, you get cops. Michael Briggs unfortunately died. You get Dan Doherty got shot, and almost died. And then you get the 2 officers last year that got shot.
Right in our ward.
People that got shot. And it's never, and they got lucky.
Nobody ever got shot in Ward 10 when I was growing up. It's a different world.
Yeah, it's.
Bill, we'd like to.
And believe me, it can happen anywhere in the city of Manchester and anywhere on the outskirts of Manchester. Violence is violence, and when some of the worst things that you could do as a cop is pull someone over because they are, and one thing that people don't understand about police is we react. All right, now the unfortunate thing is the bad guy. He already knows what he's going to do. He already knows that he's going to shoot at you. You don't know that. You're not going to pull out your gun every single time you pull a car over or every single time you go to talk to someone. But they're already ready. They know what they're going to do. And all the cop can do is react to what they're going to do.
Okay, Bill, we'd like to get you...
unfortunately, sometimes it's too late.
Well, I'd like to get you on the show soon, and we talk about the drugs. Maybe you, Danny O'Neill, and Pat Long could come on, and we could talk about these issues.
That would be great.
Because
I would like that. And Matt, have a great night, and thank you guys for talking to me.
Thanks, Bill. You too.
And good luck with your
clean up the city.
Good luck with your race to become sheriff. You'll make a great one.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye now.
Yeah, he has. From what you've been telling me, he has a pretty distinguished career in law enforcement.
He's been decorated by the FBI. He was a law enforcement officer of the year from the National Center for Exploited Children.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have him on.
Yeah, I still haven't met him, but
the thing is that Gatz is talking about crime is down, and then violent crime is way up, and then you find that the police here are really underpaid compared to
I didn't realize
people.
That. Did he?
I didn't.
He said 12th in the state in terms of salary.
Yeah, so, and it really
That's stunning to me.
Yeah, it really gets up there after several years.
Yeah,
it's like a Nashua person, I'm not sure, 5 or 7 years will get 65, or Manchester 53. So of course, when you've got that experience, you're going to move on.
Of course.
Speaking of moving on, let's get to Gatzis. If the rumor is, if Gatzis wins this primary, he is going to step down, not as mayor, but as the chairman. The chair, not the chairman, the chair of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Because Pat Long is the chairman of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, which is kind of like the vice chair.
Yeah.
But, and that Pat Long would then take over. It's a very cynical move because then he would still be mayor.
Right.
He would still have the office of mayor and the resources, but he would be insulated from any votes like, oh, this police contract is controversial. Look at what's going on. In the years where they were understaffed, allowed this bacillus to become a plague.
So he would, I assume, he would spin it as stepping down from that because he's running for governor, whereas in reality it would be to insulate him from those votes.
Yes, and to keep the... He's a greedy SOB. Remember, we've had he sucks at the trough, not just a pig. Do you ever read Animal Farm, George?
Yes, I love Animal Farm.
Like Napoleon, he's all animals are created equal.
I like 1984, but I loved Animal Farm when I read it. Loved it.
But he's Napoleon, hogging at that trough. It's ridiculous,
I've also noted he's perpetually red-faced. Are you concerned about his blood pressure?
I would like to. I just want to know. It takes 8 votes to get a new mayor. And I think Joyce Craig should be mayor. I think she should have been mayor last year.
How close did she come? That was a close
64
election,
votes, but we'll talk about that another time because there's some
close.
weird stuff that happened.
Yeah, because she didn't win in her own ward or something?
We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
I think Geez, I just got a text message, which I could read telepathically because I was on the Norm and Friends show. And
Modern technology
Norm told me
wonderful.
how to do this.
Yes.
We have a Skype coming in from Ted Gatzis.
Really?
He's doing an interpretive dance.
Ooh.
He's declaring victory. And Brendan, if we can have that Skype.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Let's have it.
The time has come for us to say sayonara. My heart will always be yours for eternity. I knew sometime we'd have to say sayonara. Please promise that you'll be returning someday to me. I'll remember our romance until the day that I die. I'll see your face in the moon and stars in the sky. So hold me close before you say sayonara, and promise that you'll always keep me near to your heart.
Good. This is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.